Yeah, genuinely, I'm excited to have a conversation with you. And 2025 compared to 24, when I started the podcast, I was living in Texas and was away from my daughter, and I just was very relentless in having meaningful conversations. But since I got back to Spokane, Washington, I've been with my daughter since then, and it's been a really awesome year. Uh, I haven't recorded as many podcasts. I haven't had as many genuine conversations with people, and I'm grateful that you reached out to me. And you and I connected. I think it was definitely over a year ago, a year and a half ago, and we talked about recording some time ago, but we were swapping voice messages yesterday, and we just were talking about being grateful for God's timing.
Yes.
And this last year has been challenges in ways I'd never thought, and I've been challenged spiritually in ways I haven't been before, but it's been awesome because I think God is just testing my faith, and I'm seeing how I can endure a different kind of discomfort that's different than running ultra marathons. And so I'm grateful for my family. Yeah, I just got married last week. So grateful. Thank you. Yeah, she's a gem. She'll be on the podcast when she's ready. But she's just a sweet, sweet angel, perfect human. She says she's not perfect, but I tell her she's perfect because it's true. But yeah, I'm excited to hear from you and your world and what you've been up to. So thank you, Courtney, for jumping on the Phase 1 podcast. For those of you tuning in the first time, the conversation that we're about to have revolves around 3 different pillars. The first pillar is Courtney's story. And that is a very big question to ask. And I'm going to ask that question in a few minutes, which is me asking Courtney to share her story. Because like all of us, we've been through low moments, we've been through high moments as well. But it's the low moments that I think, for me, have made major pivots that have ultimately led me on the path that I'm on now. So I'm grateful that she's taken a little bit of time out of her busy life to share her story with all of us. And yeah, I hope that you can relate with her in some way. And then we're going to pivot, recognizing our story, where we've been, and then look at where we are now as a result from our story, from our past, from the challenges that we've been through, how those obstacles became opportunities and pivots to get us on the straight and narrow path that we're on now. And that is our mission. So Courtney will share that as well. But ultimately, this podcast, this conversation is for the hurting human. And if we take accountability and humility for our own lives, we need to recognize that we are all hurting in some capacity, whether we recognize that or not. And so what I want to invite all of us into with the time that we have together is really just take a moment whenever you're comfortable to just take a breath and take inventory on a holistic scale of how we're doing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And try to do the hard work, which is recognizing the hurt that we have within ourselves, and lean into our faith and invite God in to do the work for us. So before we hit record, I asked Courtney if I could lead us in some prayer before we get into this meaningful, heartfelt conversation. So I'm going to lead us out in prayer, and then we're going to have a really cool chat. Thanks for being here, Courtney. I appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks.
Of course. God, thank you for the blessing of today. Thank you for allowing Courtney and I to take some time out of our busy schedules and prioritize a meaningful, healthy conversation in the pursuit of progress that leads to you. and to offering hope to others who need the help. We recognize our own hurt, we recognize our own heart and soul, and you know where we are today, you know where you want us tomorrow, but we're not fearful of tomorrow because we know that tomorrow's not here. What we have is now. We have everything that you've given us. We have our daily bread, which is enough to meet all basic needs. And you are enough. You are sufficient. And no matter the hurt, pain that we're in, we know that your love, your hope endures forever. So thank you for who you are and how awesome you are. Thank you for allowing us to have this time together. We love you, God. Amen.
Amen.
Courtney, thanks for hanging out. So now what I'm going to do is I get to listen to you as you share your story with all of us. And like we've talked about before, it is recognizing those moments. And sometimes they're really low. And I feel for you and relate to you in whatever you're going to share as a person. Although our stories are not parallel, we are both people and we both have hurt. So, and we also experience happiness too. That's always cool.
Yes.
So thank you for taking some time out of your day. And now I'm going to let you lead the conversation by starting off with sharing your story with us. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So I had never recorded or done anything like this. So I had actually made like 2 different sets of notes, like made one set of notes, trashed it, started another set of notes, trashed it. Now I have this set of notes, and even within the prayer, now God's telling me to talk about something a little different. So I was going to start my story of when I met my husband, but within our conversation, we talk about hurt and healing and just how sometimes within the mix of the hurt, there's a great overcome. Well, before I met my husband, there's a story there. So I guess I'll just start from the very beginning and then we'll get into that. So, my mom went to prison when I was 2. Parents make bad choices. She was in prison until I was 7. She got released. She was around for a little while, and then she got back into drugs and stuff, and her and my dad were off, and I was raised by my grandma for a while. And then my dad met my stepmom, and she had 5 children. So I went from being an only child to having 5 step siblings. And I mean, that was fun. I mean, in the midst of it growing up, there's the chaos and this and that. But looking back at it, I mean, it was so much fun. So many different characters and chaos and the pranks and stuff that we used to do. I wouldn't trade that childhood for the world. And, mom was gone for a while. And then at the age of 12, she came back around. She got saved. She was clean again. And she wanted to rekindle the connection that we had lost. So it was actually around Christmas time when I was 12 that she came back around. And she was around for 3 months. And then March of that following year, so in 2010, she had actually passed. She had a heart attack. And her heart exploded. So that was like kind of devastating. It's like this like relationship that like you long for and you crave for. And it's like so close. Like there's a couple good months there and then it's like gone again, and you're like, wow, like in that moment, I just felt like, oh man, like why would God choose me? Like out of all the kids in the world, like why would God choose my mom to take? I just didn't understand it in that moment, but as you get older, you just realize so much. So that was like the first like big moment where like you had to like, I'd say like tested my relationship with God a little bit, like you're so young, you don't understand everything. You're just like, they talk about God being so good. Why would he allow something so bad to happen? And I ended up finding like a lot of good in the mix of it. So my mom's best friend actually ended up being my husband's mom, and I didn't know that at the time, but it's crazy how like it all came full circle. So now my mother-in-law was actually one of my mom's best friends, so I get to hear stories and there's that relationship there, and that's really cool. So now I'll jump to 2016. I met my husband, and that was awesome. I had went to a private Christian school, and when I had met him, him and his mom were coming to the church that we went to school at, and he was just different. I just loved the way he talked, the way he carried himself. It was just something that like I had never really seen before. And so I moved out of my parents' house, moved in with him. And 2018, we found out we were pregnant, and wasn't necessarily a part of the plan, but like adults. We're like, all right, it's time to embrace it. So we got married. 2019 was a big year for us. 2019, February of the 2019, we bought our first house together. March is the year we got married, and in May 8th, our daughter was born. So that was a busy first year of 2019 there together. Um, and then let's see, I made a bunch of notes, sorry.
No,
2020,
you're good.
2 years later, our son was born. And for the first few months, it was fun. You know, you got these two little ones. And then somewhere in the mix of that, we had kind of like lost ourselves in the chaos, I guess. You know, we're still both kind of young, and we got these two young babies, and we're both gaining weight. We just found ourselves unhappy. You know, my son was working 16-hour overnight shifts, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and we were just unhappy. And we're like, okay, something needs to change. So we had went on YouTube and we started listening to motivational videos, you know, and along that mix, you know, we had found Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella is the CEO of First Form, for people who don't know. And he was talking about 75 hard. And we didn't really understand the depths of it all at the time, but we listened to like what he said, the steps were and this and that. And anyways, together we decided like we're just gonna go for it. 75 hard is a mental toughness program, and it's where you do two 45-minute workouts a day. One has to be outside no matter what. One has to be, it can be inside, outside, whatever. Two 45-minute workouts, reading 10 pages of a non-fictional book every day, taking a self progress picture every day, drinking in a gallon of water, and then following a diet program, whatever that means to you. If you want to do keto or you want to do carnivore diet, just whatever it is, you know, just you choose to it, you stick to it for 75 days. And amongst one of those 75 days, if you fail one of those steps, you have to start over on day one. So we decided we were going to take on this journey together. And we had never done anything like that. So for me, it took me 2 weeks to even get through like the first day. I like realized this was like way harder than I had ever thought. And anyways, so finally I got to day 28, and then I failed to take my picture. Like I go through my camera roll, realize I didn't take my picture. I'm like, man, so I had to start over again. Then I got all the way to day 52, fell asleep with one of the kids, putting them to sleep, and had to start over again. And that's where it creates like integrity along with this program. And had to start over again. Anyways, it took me 6 months to actually like do 75 hard and complete it, because you have to start over if you fail. Anyways, I got through my 75 hard days, and I couldn't believe like how much you realize like you're capable of. You know, like everyone makes excuses. Well, I don't have the time, and I don't have this, and I don't have that. And then when you do that program, you're like, you actually have like so much time within the day. It's just like, where are you applying it to, you know? And then doing that has led us to like where we are today, I guess is where I'm getting at. Like, had we not done that and had we not taken that step, like we wouldn't even be where we are today. Like currently I work at First Form now at HQ in Missouri. And at that time we were doing 75 hard and we were doing all this. We were living in a small town called Center Hill in Florida. So life has definitely changed since then. We started realizing our potential. Amongst that, my husband had quit his 12-year career as a fire sprinkler inspector slash installer. He had done that for 12 years. He realized he wanted to, in our words, like fuel our own freedom, you know, like we wanted to be capable of like what we wanted to control the amount of money reflected the amount of effort that we put into things. So I had actually created a few, like I had a little rapport within the community that I grew up in. So I had started a cleaning company, and that was actually like booming really big. And I had like an at-home boutique where I was making blankets and pillows. I could make like memory blankets and pillows out of past loved ones' clothes. Like that was a big thing, because you know, you have all these clothes from your loved ones, you're not really sure what to do with it. I can make blankets and pillows out of it. So it was very sentimental. Anyways, amidst all that too, I know this sounds like a big rambled mess, but
No,
it's
you're
all
good.
it's all part of the story.
Yeah.
In the mix of all that, we had won a big chunk of money. I can't get into the details because you know we signed a contract, but pretty much a big
Mm-hmm.
deal stole a car from us, and we won a big check of money. So now we're panicking. You know, we had never seen a large amount of money. But we've been doing this program and we've read these self-help books. So it's like we have a little bit of knowledge to know that like it's a big opportunity if we use it the right way. And we really wanted to make sure that we did. So we went on a road trip. okay? I know it sounds silly. We went on a road trip and we went to Missouri, from Florida to Missouri, and we wanted to see what this headquarters at First Form looked like. Like, this community had made such an impact on us. I mean, the people who reach out to us along on our journey and just say, hey, we're there for you. You know, if you need anything, reach out. You know, it was just something that we had never experienced before, and it really made us feel like we were family. You know, it was just something that it was very comforting, and we wanted to be close to that. So we went on a road trip. We had never really been out of the state of Florida before, like never seen snow, nothing. We went on a road trip, looked at the state, looked at a few houses while we were up here. The last day we were up here, we looked at a house before we left, and I don't know, it just stuck with us. Just something about this house just stuck with us. And 2 weeks later, after we got back from the road trip, we purchased the house, and we hadn't even sold our house in Florida yet. We didn't really know what the plan was yet, but we just had faith. We're like, we're just going to do it. We're going to buy this house. We're going to move to Missouri, and we're going to change our life. You know, we had grew up in this small town. Our families grew up in this small town. Like, everybody knows everybody. Like, we wanted to change the scenery, not only for us, but for our kids, you know, give them something different that like we had never experienced, you know? And, so before we actually moved up here, I know you're familiar with the 3 of 7 project. Chad Wright had actually went on Andy's podcast, Real AF, and recorded a podcast. We kind of like really liked the way this guy talked. We're like, who is this guy? You know, he's sound like this like redneck, but he has this beard, and he's like really cool. We're like, what the heck? So we started looking into him and found that he's 3 of 7, and he was doing something called ROP. And we're like, what is ROP? You know, rite of passage. We had no idea what this was, but my husband's like, I want to do it. I want to sign up for it. He's like, they're going hiking in the mountains for 24 hours. It can't be that hard, you know? So my husband did ROP team 1, first team to ever do it, and none of them quit. So it was a few more missions. I don't remember exactly what mission it was, but there was a few more missions that went on before it was another team that was undefeated. But so he was a part of that first team, and there's just something special about the first team. But he came back, and I mean, he was changed. Like, I can't explain it. Like, as a wife, you know your partner, and there was just something in him that was different. You know, he said that the spiritualness that they experienced out there on the mountain while they were hiking, he's like, I just can't explain it. He's like, I can try to tell you what I learned. He's like, but it's just something like, unless you go do it yourself, you just don't quite know. So I kind of had like FOMO, you know, like fear of missing out. So like I signed up. I was like, well, why can't I do it? You know, you did it. I want to do it. So I got accepted, and my ROP mission was set for October. So right now the story timeline is we're in July of 2023 right now. So, I got accepted. My ROP mission is going to be in October. So it's in July. We move up here to the house in September 23rd. So we're here for about a week, unpacking the U-Haul, getting things settled in. And now it's time to drive to Georgia so I can do my ROP mission. And that was so much fun. Everyone's looking at us like, what are you guys doing? You just moved up here. Now you guys are going back to Georgia. And we're like, listen, you just don't get it. You know, like if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And let me find this part of my notes, because I wrote down what my deep mission statement was.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah, you're good. Take your time.
That's fine. So we had actually, so ROP is a 24-hour continuous movement, no stopping, no sitting. And we had done 48.8 miles in that 24 hours. And it says right here, my recap is, there's no I in team. There's no shame in asking for help. And then I put in parentheses, they had to help me carry my bag. So to me, that was like a big, like, pride thing. Cause like, we're out there on the trail. Like, at this point I had done 75 hard, and like I had done like workouts, and I had done like walks, but even my walks were never over 3 miles long, you know, like to get 45 minutes. It doesn't take that long. You know what I'm saying? So like, I was like, it can't be that hard, you know, like, you get out there on the trail, like every 6 hours we had a stopping point for an aid station where we're going to refill water. We're going to get a couple snacks, whatever we need. And that first aid station, someone had already quit. Like he was out of it. He sat in the van, and like, I'm not gonna lie, at that first aid station, I was like, dude, this is hard. Like, I had no idea, like, really what I was getting into. And then you got Chad drilling you, you know, like, don't be a turd, don't be a quitter, you know. And I'm like, okay, I am not going to be the quitter, you know, like, also, like, as a female, you're like, I don't want to be viewed as the weakest link, you know, like, I don't want them to have to, like, carry me along this journey. Like, I want to hold my own, you know, And now we're at the second checkpoint, and they can see that I'm struggling, and they're asking, hey, are you okay? Do you need help with anything? And typical me, I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. When like really like I had the wrong bag. I didn't prep properly. Like the bag was digging into my shoulders. Like I had like a blister like right here on like my neck bone from like my bag rubbing so raw. Like finally, like someone was like, give me your bag. Like they just took my bag. Like they could see that I was struggling, like I was fidgeting, like they could tell something was wrong. And finally they just took my bag. And I could like in my head, I'm like going over like, man, I really didn't want to have to ask for help and this and that. And like God's speaking to me like, well, what's wrong? You know, like you're supposed to ask for help. You're supposed to be able to rely on a team, you know, like that's what they're here for. And that's what this is for. And that's just what kept going through my head like the last half mission. Like that's literally what these people are here for. Like they're here for you. You're all here for the same mission, the same journey. Like they're not going to let you fail, you know, like let your team help. So that was my mission statement from that, you know, like anyone who's out there listening, you know, like it's okay to ask for help sometimes. There's no shame in asking for help. And you really realize like there's power in a team sometimes, you know, and sometimes it takes a village in like other situations in life, not just like hard things like that, you know, like it takes a village. Now that ROP is over, we're back up here. We had moved up here with the intentions that one of us was going to work at First Form HQ. You know, like we didn't know how it was going to happen, but it was going to happen. So husband gets an interview at HQ, surprisingly, and it's for handwriting notes. And I was trying to be supportive, but I know my husband and I know his handwriting, and he has terrible handwriting. I mean, it is terrible. And these notes are going out to like the big end customers, you know, you're handwriting cards, you know, making it like unique, one off. And anyways, like he didn't get it. And that's fine. You know, like sometimes you're just not good enough and you have to be better at something. You have to reevaluate. So for us right there, like life was a pivot. And in that moment, we didn't realize like that was our biggest blessing, was that no. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes in life too, like you're going to have your eyes set on this thing and you're going to think this is it, and you're going to get told no. And that's okay. You have to pivot. Find the blessing within the pivot, because had we not had our minds open to like what the next step was, like we wouldn't be here where we are. And I'm going to get to that. So, he didn't get the job. So now we got to figure out what we're going to do. You know, like we still have our house in Florida. We haven't sold it yet. We don't know what we're going to do with it yet. So we're still paying the mortgage on that. We're up here. Neither one of us have a job at this point. So we're looking around. We're on Indeed looking up jobs. And I'm realizing that you can go be a correctional officer up here. And like, you don't have to have like any kind of training. You don't have to have any kind of degree. You just have to have like a high school diploma. And it's like the highest paying job. And I was like, I'm going to go try this. You know, like I didn't really know at that time, like what it was. I'd never been inside of a jail or a prison. You know, I never got in trouble. It was a maximum security level 5 men's prison. And I got the job. I went through the training. I'm not going to lie, it felt really badass to go do that. And I actually really enjoyed it. I know that sounds weird, and my whole family was questioning me the whole time, like, what are you doing? You're not scared? You're not, you know, this and that. And like, I'm not gonna lie, there was moments like I was intimidated, and especially in the beginning, you feel like this like little kid, but it ended up being like, again, like a really big like learning curve, and I learned a lot about myself within that journey too. I worked there for 2.5 years. But now I'm rambling. At the initial beginning, I got the job as a corrections officer, and he decided he was going to go back to sprinklers. Up here, they had a traveling position, and they were offering him a job in Georgia. And I'm not going to lie, the pay was like really, really good. They were giving out a big pay for like per diem, and that's when you stay like out of state, and they were also paying for his hotel room. So, I mean, it was a good gig. And then now our kids were in daycare. I had always been a stay-at-home mom, and the kids had always been at home with me. So now I'm working full time. He's working full time. Kids are in daycare, and we're just like, what are we doing? Like, what is going on? Like, that is not what we moved up here for, you know? So like now we're like, again, looking at ourselves, questioning where we're at in life. Like, what are we going to do? So he decides like, no, this isn't it. In Florida, when I was doing my cleaning and had the boutique, we're like, the point of that is we wanted to fuel our own freedom. We wanted to, again, the amount of effort we put in reflects the amount of money that we make. So he's like, I'm going to create a company that's going to be called Fuel Freedom Products. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing yet. He's like, but this is what I'm going to do. And I'm like, okay, sweet. Let me know, what you decide we're going to do. And at this point, like, we had been racing dirt bikes since before kids. Me and Darren on dates would go race dirt bikes and stuff. So like dirt bikes has always been like our thing, our hobby on the weekends. We're always racing somewhere. So he's like, you know what? We're always here anyways. He's like, there's a gap at the tracks. Someone's always missing like goggles or a jersey, or they want grips or something. So we decided we're going to set up a little tent at the tracks that we travel to, and we're going to sell like dirt bike stuff. And so the first year of that was like really fun. It was like a little side hobby. It funded our little fun habit. And then we also came out, I had sent you a gift package of our Kick Satan and the Nuts almonds. It was sprouted
Yeah.
almonds.
Yeah,
And
they're so good. Sorry, keep
thank
going.
and we wanted to give the riders something nutritional at the track, because like there's always cheeseburgers or French fries, burritos, but we're like, where's the healthy snack to give them like real fuel? So we had tried with the almonds, and then we realized, like, as cool as that was to us, because we had also done like hard endurance stuff, like ROP. My husband does runs, so it's also like a really good high endurance snack, but it didn't really appeal to the dirt bike snack. That was us doing something that we were into, trying to push it into that community, and there wasn't really a spot for it. So again, we're realizing like, hey, we can keep pushing this and it's not really doing what we want, or right now we're a year and a half into it, we need to pivot again. Like we need to change direction with this. So we're like, okay, we still wanted to bring a snack food item into the dirt bike community. We just weren't sure what it was yet. And we're like, what's something that everyone loves to eat, kids and adults, that's like a snack food? And we're like, gummies. Like everyone loves gummies, like, the good late night snack. Every kid always wants any gummies they see on the shelf, whether it's little gummy bears, gummy worms, or it's the Welch's gummies. I love Welch's gummies, so we decided we were going to create a formula. That's been about a year and a half in the making. And right now I'm jumping to part of the story, but right now while I'm talking about it, I'm just going to go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we've officially launched our air cooled moto gummies, and
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have brought a bag out here with me. But this is our newest snack food, and it is the world's first ever moto themed gummy snack. And
Mm-hmm.
we have 4 shapes, 4 different flavors: strawberry, blueberry, peach, and lemon. They are derived from all natural fruit. It's a pectin base versus a gelatin base. And there's no color dyes, there's no artificial sugars. Like, it's like the best and purest like actual gummy you can get, and it's in really fun dirt bike shapes.
Mm-hmm.
The Honda engine motor, a Kawasaki engine motor, um a BBR V3 frame, and then a pit bike, because we race pit bikes. That's what we like. We like the little bikes, so it's just a general pit bike.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like fun, it's creative, and they taste so good. So I'm gonna have to send you out a care package as well of those, so you guys can try them out, and your little girl, because kids.
Oh, thank you.
So that's
Thank
our
you.
newest adventure, and it's so exciting. We've got a couple good things in the works. I'm not gonna say too much on it, but it's all in good timing, and had we not been open and faithful in those moments, like pure faith, like there's times when like we were like, we didn't have money to like really travel, but we're like, if we use this money to travel to get there and we don't make money while we're there, we're not going to have gas to make it back.
Mm.
But it's like, we're going to go anyways. Like, we're going to have faith. This is what we're doing. This is what's on our heart to do. And we're just going to do it. And every time it's always worked out. We've always made our money for gas. They make it back and then some, So it's like, you just have to be willing to pivot in life, and just have faith, and just realize like God's got you, like sometimes he gives his hardest struggles to his strongest warriors. Like, he knows what you can handle, and I really believe that, me personally, now, like, I could be wrong on this, but me personally, like, I feel like when you pray and you ask for strength and courage and patience, like, I think he doesn't just give it to you. I think he tests you with situations to see, are you going to develop the courage? Are you going to develop the patience and the things that you're asking for, So yeah, that's what I felt like. He's giving us situations all the time to test us. Yeah, and that's kind of where we are now. I mean, I'm sure I skipped some things over our story. Definitely, because amongst that last year, me and my husband got to go back and trained with 3 of 7, and we did ROP together.
Mm-hmm.
That was October of 2024. Yeah, so 2024. So we're getting into more current. Okay, got lost in the timeline there. Okay, and a little bit before that, because um I had actually signed an Army contract too. Me and you were talking about that. I was supposed to ship off, and
Mm-hmm.
that's about the time we were supposed to record last year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and this is about where everything starts getting hard again. You know, everything was going good. Everything was going good. Signed the Army contract, knew my ship date, and this is the part of the story where like I could have debriefed over it, but sometimes, you know, you have to own up to your mistakes and take accountability. Um, and be honest, you know, there's always integrity. Honestly, I lost my Army contract because I had failed my drug test. Um, I'm a daily smoker, or I was a daily smoker, and before I went to MEPS to like actually do the drug test and stuff, it had been 75 days since I had smoked or anything. And we had took all the tests in the office and at home, and like we were passing all of them. So we were all confident, you know, that it was going to be fine. Everything was going to be good, but I still failed my blood work test. So that was like slightly embarrassing. You know, everyone's asking you like, hey, are you still going? When are you shipping off? You know, what's going on? You're like, oh, you know, just something came up. And it wasn't like, of course, like it's a big deal. You lost your contract, but all I had to do was wait 90 days and I could go retest, and I got special clearance and I was able to go again. I was cleared and I was able to go again. Um, in the mix of that process of waiting to go back, um, I it was actually Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving of 2024. I went to the ER that night because like I thought it was like one of the worst flus I had ever had in my entire life. Like headache was splitting like completely open, lights were hurting my eyes, and like sending my brain into like this overstimulating, like I can't even explain it. Like I'd never felt anything like that. Well, it turns out I had meningitis, and I had never even heard that before. We're like, yeah, we're admitting you have meningitis. Like I'm like, what the heck is that? And they're like, that's an infection in the lining of your brain. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, and like
Mm-hmm.
they're like going over and they're telling me about it, and I'm realizing how serious it is, you know, and I'm like, okay. And like I was actually in the hospital for 12 days, and it was pretty scary, you know. They're talking to you about like you could have these long lasting side effects, you know, talking about reoccurring seizures or the meningitis possibly coming back, or you know, this or that, and you're like, you're getting overwhelmed. And it got to a point where I like I had to find God in that moment, because also like they wouldn't let my family come up there and see me because they weren't sure. There's like two different types of meningitis. There's like a really contagious one, and there's one that's not. And it turns out that I didn't have the contagious one, but at first they wouldn't let my family up there. So like I wasn't allowed to see my kids or my husband, and it was really hard because like they're telling you all this scary stuff, and then like I knew I had young kids and they're talking about survival rates, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, it was like overwhelming. And finally I had to find God in my hospital bed, you know, and I was just like, God, like, I don't know what your plan is, but obviously you have a plan here, you know. And I was like, and I'm not done yet. I was like, I haven't even reached my full potential. I'm at like, feel like 5% of like my potential right now, of like finally realizing what I'm capable of through like all the hard things that I've already endured and like faced and like challenged. And like, I'm not done yet. It's pretty much what I told him. I was like, I want more, and I want so much more. And like, I want you to give me the ability to do that. And so when I got out of the hospital, you know, life still goes on. Like I had lost myself within the fitness goal a little bit, not gonna lie. You know, had to hop right back into work pretty much. Um and I gained a lot of weight from December to April. I had gained 55 pounds. So you're talking December, January, February, March, April. That's 4 months. So that's more than 10 pounds a month that I had to gain. And like, I was completely like unrecognizable. Like, even the inmates at the jail that I worked, like, Miss Johnson, are you pregnant? And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, they're even asking me if like I'm pregnant. Like, okay, there's a problem here, Courtney, you know, like, I had to be humbled. And like, I went back and like I looked through some of my old pictures, and like you always realize like you realize you've gained weight, but like for me, like I had to go back and like look at like my progress pictures, and like that's why I always suggest take your progress pictures, whether you post them or not. You don't have to post them, but keep them for yourself, because it's a really good gut reality check. Anyways, I went back to my December pictures from like when I got sick and stuff, and I was comparing them to my March pictures, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, who is this person? Like, who are you? Like, you've set this example and you've been this person for so many years. Like, I don't know, I just felt like so shamed and embarrassed because like I felt like I had so many people like watching me or like expecting me to do or live like this certain way, and like I was not doing that like at all, you know. Like I was eating whatever the heck I wanted, probably like McDonald's and iced coffee at that time and pizza, just literally like everything that's bad for you that I knew was wrong for you I was eating. Like anything that I knew would make me feel better, you know, like reading books, reading the Bible, getting out there and walking, like completely ignoring and then wondering why I felt like crap. You know, it's like if you put garbage in your tank, you can't wonder why your car runs like garbage. You know, you got to give it what it needs to run on, you know? Um, so a point had to come where it was like, Courtney, just get your stuff together. Like, quit making up excuses. Like, I was letting this possible, like, meningitis, not sure if it's what could life could be after that, like, kind of like affect me in a way. And I would be lying if I said like I didn't still like have problems with it afterwards. Like it was really like my memory. And it was kind of scary because you know I'm only 27 and at that time I was 26, 25, 26, and like my memory was messing with me, like things that I knew like I was mixing up, or at work I was stuttering my words, or like even right now at work, like when I'm working at First Form, there's this kid, his name is Jackson, but I call him Aiden all the time. And like his name is not Aiden. And I know his name is not Aiden. And I still call him Aiden. He's like, my name's Jackson. And I'm like, I am so sorry. And it's like frustrating because like I've never mixed up names before in my entire life. Like I've always like strived on like my memory and being like really sharp and peak. So it's like it gets real frustrating at times. But anyways, so yeah, I had to cut the excuses from March to August. I had lost a good 30 pounds. I'm down to about like 155 now. My husband sends me a screenshot that First Form is hiring, you know, so we've been up here in Missouri at this point for about 2.5 years waiting for another opportunity to arise. Like their warehouse is open and they need a night shift warehouse worker. And I'm like, okay, it's not ideal, but I'm just going to shoot for it. I'm going to put in an application. Well, I heard back from them that same day and I was like, oh, wow. Like, okay, you know? So then I'm like, now, like, I go to the interview goes great, and I get the job. So now it's like a full circle moment, you know? Like, we've been following them for about 3-4 years. We've been consistent. Like, this is what we wanted. It's just so crazy to think that, like, 3 years, 2.5, 3 years ago, we were up here doing a road trip, just looking at, you know, this headquarters building, you know, just imagining what it would be like, the community around there. And like, now here we are in 2025. Like, God just has a reason for everything and timing and places. And like, sometimes to us, a no feels so heavy or it just doesn't make sense when like, God's like, I closed that door for you. Like, that's a blessing. You should be so thankful that that door got closed because look where you are now. Had that door been a yes, you wouldn't be here, you know? So I'm just so thankful that, anyways, for all my rambling on, that through all the struggles, through all the pivots that we had to do, like, we were faithful, we stayed consistent, and we allowed God to push us to where we are now. Like, right now, we're in one of the best worst situations I could say we are in life, um financially wise. Like it's one of the hardest moments we've ever been in, you know, scary, but at the same time like we can see the peak of it, you know. And they say like for business it takes about at least 3 years to 4 years before you actually like start seeing profit or you get to that other side, you know. And like we're at that point where like I can see like where most people would quit because you're like, especially when you have kids, you know, like when you're just adults and you're trying to create a business, you're trying to create something for yourself, it doesn't seem that scary because you don't have that much to lose. You're like, I can get another job. But like when you have kids and like you have other mouths to feed, like making sacrifices or taking certain risks just seems like so much more heavy. At least for me, that's how I feel it, you know, because I'm like, if we fail and we mess this up, like, okay, like I can struggle, but like, I don't want my kids to have to struggle, you know? So I'm sure like every parent can relate to that, whether it's switching from this job to another job, or you are a few years into business and you're like, man, this seems so scary right now. Like right now, it's like, if I go spend this on the company, am I going to have the money right here for this bill? Or, you know, like what's going on? Like just stay faithful, you know, just stay faithful and stay moving forward, um, through everything that you have to do because God will always provide a way, you know. And even through here this last month, I guess just like little recent things and me being naive. So we moved from Florida to Missouri. I had never purchased a car outside of state, and I had just purchased a new car in October this year. And I did not know sales tax was not included when you purchase a car up here. So when I went to go tag my car, they're like, yeah, it's gonna be like $2,200 and something dollars, and like my mouth drops open, and I thought I was gonna start drooling because I was like such an awe. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, sales tax was not included. You know, you have to pay that. So that's just like another situation of little things in life where you're like, oh wow, just find a way because it's Christmas month. You know, it's like, well, I just spent this money here. How's there going to be Christmas? Well, again, back to my ROP mission. Sometimes you can't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes you're just in those situations and you need to ask for help. Like I had to reach out to my little village, you know. My kids have aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas. Hey guys, this is what happened. This is the situation we're in. Like, do you think you could help us out with Christmas? And our village showed up. Like when I say my closet is full of boxes right now that like I have to wrap, like I'm so thankful. Like every time I look in there, like I tear up a little bit because I'm just like, thank you, God. You know, like had I personally like let my own feelings and ego get in the way, like my kids, like their Christmas wouldn't be like be able to be magical. You know what I'm saying? And Christmas isn't about that. You know, don't get me wrong. Christmas is also about Jesus and the ultimate sacrifice. And but you also want to see your kids happy. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like my village showed up, and had I not been able to set my pride aside and like be like, hey guys, like I need help, like that wouldn't be there either. So I guess like that's the end of like my little ramble. If you kind of like want to jump in at any moment, but I don't want to get it too off course. But yeah, I guess like our mission right now, it is story, mission, message. So I guess redriving it to mission. Our mission right now is to just help people. You know, if you take the factor of like wanting to make money away, like everyone wants to make money, but like what is our actual mission? Like we just want to help people see their potential in themselves, their true potential, and realize that like you're capable of like so much more. Like it's not about where you grow up, it's not about how you were raised or anything like that. Like it's not magical. Like you're capable of anything that you want to do. And like I know that sounds like so vague because you're like, well, Courtney, how do I get there? Like, well, no one's going to hand it to you either. You know, like you might have to do some research, you might have to look some things up, but like you are capable of it. You know, anyone is. And if I can do it, I'd say like anyone can do it. You know, like I'm not perfect. No one is perfect, but I'm trying, you know, and that's another one of my statements is progress over perfection. You know, take the little win. Every little win. It's better than you taking a complete loss because you were scared to try, you know. So yeah, that's our mission. We just genuinely want to help people, help them realize like they're capable and they're worth it. Like your personal value, you are worth it as a person. God created you for a reason. God doesn't make mistakes. And sometimes you just have to sharpen the skills that God gave you that you don't quite know is hiding in your toolbox yet, you know. So
I love it. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, I just, again, thank you for opening up and sharing a lot of your heart, your soul, not just yours, but your family's as well. Yeah, I'd love to meet the family one day. They all seem sweet. I remember we were FaceTiming one time and the little kiddos who were running around. But yeah, I appreciate you just sharing where you and your family have been and where you're all at today. And then with all of that, the last pillar that we want to lean into is your message. And you were sharing a little bit of that already, but just one more opportunity for us to take a pause, reflect on the conversation that we've had up to this point, and recognizing where people are in with their personal lives, especially with holiday season. Sometimes it just gets a little more challenging for people. So for me, I'm thinking about the hurting human out there. I don't know who they are. Maybe they're listening. Let's just give them some words of encouragement, which is what I called the message. So if you'll go ahead and start, and then I'll give some words of encouragement as well. But it's cool because you and I get to encourage one another as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it goes full circle, which is cool. So I'll hand it off to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, I had never recorded or done anything like this, so hopefully the message didn't get too lost in there with me like rambling on about my own story, but it just makes sense if you know from like where we started to how we got to where we are, and to realize that like there is no perfect timing, there is no perfect story, you know. This your life isn't a Hallmark movie. I think that's where a lot of people like get lost too. They're like, well, it's marriage is supposed to look like this and it's supposed to be like this. Like there's no rule book, you know, like this is your life, and you know, it's just you I got lost on what I was thinking, but
Sure. That's
um
okay.
I got lost. But you know, you are just in control of your life, you know, and you want to make the best of it, you know. Well, there's no perfect timing. That's what it was. There's not ever going to be a perfect like situation. Well, if you know, if I wait on Monday and I've got this ready and this ready, just the best time that you could have started was yesterday. The next best time that you can start or make a change is today. You know, whatever that is in your life, you know, for all the listeners out there, whatever it is that you're like second guessing on, you're like, I'm not really sure, or will I even be good at it? Just take a chance, you know, like who are you scared of messing up for, you know? Like don't be worried about who else is watching, or you know what someone else's opinion of you matters, because in the end like their opinion doesn't matter. The only person's opinion that matters really of you is God, you know? Like so just do it, just go for it, you know? And I think that could be like my word of encouragement, I guess, if I had a word of encouragement, is don't wait for a perfect time. Don't think that things have to be quote unquote perfect to do it. Just go for it, and you'd actually surprise yourself like a lot on like what you're capable of. Like I'm doing so much more than I ever dreamed that I would be, and I still feel like I've only reached maybe 15% of my potential. Like I still have so much more. I have really big goals, and right now it just seems like it's a dream or it's a fantasy, but you know, you put in the actions towards it and you'll get there. But yeah, that's my word of encouragement.
Love it. Thank you. For me, I I'm always thinking. I always have something in my mind, and I always want to be ready to give a word of encouragement for someone who needs to hear it. So I'll think about how I coach myself on a daily basis and just share that with you. And maybe it resonates with someone who needs to hear it. But right now, I am recording in my garage in my apartment. I have a gym set up in here. This is my space. This is where I operate. And every morning, I get up when I don't want to, and I get on the treadmill that's behind me, and I make a series of conscious choices to get on that treadmill and put in the work. It has nothing to do with the miles, it has everything to do with voluntarily and willingly showing up for discomfort for progress. So it's all in the pursuit of progress. And ever since I've been with my wife, I mean, this year has been so wild. Absolute blessing, but it's been really wild. Ever since I have been with her, I just there's no excuse. Like I'm going to get my training in because maybe it'll make me be a better husband, a better partner for her.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll help me be a better father to our 5.5 year old. And maybe it'll make me a better father for our boy that's coming in March.
Mm.
So for me, I reject excuses and move forward, knowing that it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time that I was motivated. And for those that have listened to other podcasts, other recordings, I say that all the time. I reject the need for motivation and replace it with inspiration. But inspiration can be tricky if we're not careful. I say this because I, in my past, have pursued a path that led to inspiring everyone. I was thinking, well, if I do this, then I can inspire the world. But what I forgot to do was inspire myself, and I lost myself. So I flipped the script, which is something that we all can do. We're allowed to flip the script, turn the page, start over. It's okay. And I really just focused on inspiring myself on a holistic scale, like I was talking about before. Like, when we recognize our hurt, that's also, it's not just hurt, but holistic strength really is the core of phase one. Like, holistic strength, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. There's so much more to our strength than just physical. So when I'm trying to inspire myself, I'm trying to relentlessly pursue Christ and stay on the path that he has for me. And what does that mean? It means that I disregard what's going on around me. I'm not always paying attention to the worldly things. Am I tempted? Yes, I'm absolutely tempted. But when I'm tempted, I'm also, my faith is tested.
Yes.
So two things are happening. Like, Satan is tempting me to chase the world. At the same time, God is testing my faith to follow him and to increase my faith. So what I found was really more internal satisfaction and internal reward when I started trying to inspire myself, and really just means showing up for me and trying to be healthier than yesterday. Like you were saying, like, we're not going to be perfect. So the progress is never to, or excuse me, I guess that's right. The progress is never towards perfection, but it's, oh wait, I'm messing up my words. The pursuit is never towards perfection. The pursuit is always towards progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And you were, what's that?
and because no one is perfect. So if you're always shooting for perfection, like at a certain point, like you're always going to fail because no one's perfect. And then it's just going to be this continuous negative cycle, if that kind of makes sense. That's how I view it as, like ultimately no one is perfect. So if you're chasing for perfection, like you're never going to achieve that, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It makes sense. And it's a battle that I think I'll always face. I do beat myself up if I'm not showing up in full in my healthiest self.
Yep.
So fortunately, my wife has a lot of grace for me, and she is a safe haven for me, with no condemnation. But I hold myself to a high standard because I know that I can be better. When I wrong my family with a lack of patience, I know that was in my control. I know that I could have been more patient. So I think the battle will always continue, but the greatest battle is within. And if I continue to ask God to enter my heart and work in me and work through me so that I could be a product of God's kingdom and bring more people to God's kingdom, okay, cool. Then there's a fight that's worth fighting. And it always starts with conscious choices. Getting up when I don't want to and being uncomfortable for a reason in the pursuit of progress. You were talking earlier about opinions of others, and something that clicked in my head a few days ago. I just wanted to share it. Maybe it'll mean something to someone. I was thinking, if God rejects the opinion of Satan, why do we concern ourselves with the opinion of others? I think really what I'm trying to get at with that, I mean, recognizing we're all people impacted and influenced by everything around us and what's happened to us. But I guess I'm just curious, like, why do people care so much about the opinions of others? I don't know. And maybe we don't really unpack it today, but it's really just thought provoking. And if anything, I would just want to encourage people, like, if we lean into integrity and accountability, and if we know the truth about ourselves, we know our character and who God says we are, then what difference does it make for what other people say about us? Jesus says, when the world hates you, remember they hated me first.
Yep.
So I kind of just go into every day knowing, all right, maybe the world will hate me. Okay. Like, I like to just say, okay, like, all right, because I know my integrity, I know where I'm failing, and I know the work that God's doing in me. And I just don't need the validation, or I don't need the validation from anyone. And I also don't need the, and what I mean by validation, maybe that's not the right word. If someone is accusing me of something I didn't do, which literally happened last week, that's a whole thing. Someone tried to get $3,500 because of things and blamed it on me, and I just said respectfully, no,
Yeah.
not gonna happen, because I know my integrity, I know my character. And I was like, okay, if I lose my character, then I lose. Like, the world will test me, the
Yeah.
world will battle me, but if I lose my character, then I lose.
Yep.
So it just goes back to that internal battle that's within every day. And if I can hold and maintain my character that God gives me, okay, then God wins. You know, the victory is already his. So what really do I have to offer besides just total submission and sacrifice of myself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So those are some John thoughts for everybody. If it adds value to your life, that's great. That's what my hope is. But yeah, Courtney, I got one final question for you, and I didn't prompt you with this one.
Okay.
It was by design. But before I ask the question, I do want to say thank you for jumping on the Phase One podcast.
Thanks for having
This is really, of course, this is a safe place for people to show up and get real and stay real, where, you know, there's glitches in the Wi-Fi, there's imperfection all over the place, but we're just pushing play on life and seeing what happens. So
Absolutely.
the final question that I have for you is, what does Phase One mean to you?
That's a good question. To me, like, if I hadn't known you or met you, what I would assume Phase One to be, like, I would interpret it as, like, Phase One is the first step in, like, your life of, like, what you're gonna do next for progress, like a good healthy progress, you know. So, like, now that, like, I've met you and, like, I know you as a person, to me Phase One means, like, that's a good question. First of all, like you said, this is, like, a safe place, like, and you're a very good friend. Yeah, I just kind of combine it all in the same thing. Like, to me, Phase One is, like, it's the first phase into the next phase of your life. Like, once you decide you want to make that change and you're going to take that step, whether it's spiritual, physical, emotional, just whatever it is for you, it starts with Phase One. You know, like, always going to be a Phase One. You can't get to Phase 5 or Step 5 without there first being the initial Phase One. So that's what it would mean to me.
Awesome. No wrong answer with that one.
Thanks.
I like to ask people at the end of the conversation, and I like to hear initial thoughts, because Phase One started as a survival strategy. It was something that popped into my head. I think it was from God when I was in the middle of training in desert. Well, not really desert. I mean, San Antonio. It can get pretty hot. But I was running in San Antonio in the middle of the summer, didn't want to, stopped, looked around, asked, what am I doing with my life? And just standing on the side of 1604, I just was like, well, man, like, what's your Phase One? I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
phase one, that sounds cool. Here we are. So
I like that.
yeah. Yeah. And I will just add a plug for phase one and what we're doing. We've got some training gear right now. We've got shirts, we have hats. It's all on the website, phase1missions.com. We also have 2 ultra marathons posted on ultra sign up for this year. We have LOS, which is last one standing. That is going to be in May. That is essentially, well, it's 4 miles every hour until there's only one person left.
Okay.
And then in April. Oh wait, I can't. I can share it, but it's not posted yet. There is a race that is awaiting permit right now. It's called the Forged 48. There is a popular ultra marathon over the series of 48 hours, but you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. And we're going to do it as a group. That one's going to be really cool. I'm just waiting on the permit, so you can't sign up for that one yet officially. But if you want to RSVP, you could do that on the website, phase1missions.com. And then, I'm really excited for that one. We're going to go around state parks around Spokane, Washington, and we're just going to be in community with one another and be outside, breathe some fresh air, do some cool things together. But yeah, I'll let you all know when that one's available on sign up. And then the other race that is available for sign up is Zero Dark Ultra. We did the first one in August and it was very popular. People requested a 24-hour option. So we did add a 24-hour option this August. But that concept is simple. We're going to run around a 1.58 mile dirt track. For 12 or 24 hours, you can run a ruck. Ruck is only available for the 12-hour option, but the 12-hour option starts at 7 p.m. The 24-hour option starts 7 a.m. So with that, it's still very community focused. It's just people willing to be uncomfortable for a purpose. So there's my plug for those of you that want to jump on a phase one mission. We're here to help the hurting human, and we're doing it in unique ways. So wow, Courtney, thanks for hanging out. You have anything else for anyone who's listening? Final words of encouragement.
Well, before the final words of encouragement, like I can already say we're going to have to record again here soon because this one's not even fully over and I can already see things that like, not that I like should have said, but also want to say. So yeah, we're going to have one. Like I said, I've never done this before. So there's always going to be the first one. You've always got to get the first one out the way. So you guys enjoy it, listen to it, take something from it. I know it kind of sounded like a hobble mess a little bit there, but
no, you're good.
The point is, be willing to pivot too. Cause like life will give you that option. You'll find yourself sitting there questioning, like, what do I do? And my thing is life is always going to be hard, like choose your hard, make your hard worth letting life be hard for, I guess, if that makes sense, like life's going to be hard whether, if you're in an unhappy relationship, if you stay or you leave, like wouldn't you rather your hard be the better than the worse? Or, life's going to be hard whether you stay in this really crappy job or you take this new one versus the risk, like it's going to be hard either way, like let your hard be worth going through. That is what I can say, because if it's not, like, you're not going to make it. And then like life just brings other things. But yeah, just be willing to pivot. Know that there is no perfect timing. There's never going to be the perfect situation. Or if I just wait and I make sure this is lined up, like, don't get me wrong, you can plan for things, prep for things, yes, but it's never going to be fully perfect. Like sometimes just go with it. Just take that risk and just go. So a lot of my best things have happened to me in life when like I wasn't sure about it, even like this podcast, but just going for it and just doing it and realizing like it actually wasn't that hard. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, it was really, really fun. So yeah, thanks for having me, John. I really enjoyed our conversation. It was a great time. I really hope someone took something from it that they needed to hear. Cause like I said, and you mentioned earlier, we were supposed to record a podcast together like a year ago. maybe a little bit longer than that. And it's just now finally happening. And I believe it was for a reason and for a timing. We
Mhm.
both learned more and grew more within this last year, than when we were supposed to record a year ago. And there was a message or a lesson in there learned that someone needed to hear. So
Mhm.
thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again. And for those of you tuning in, thanks for chalking out a little bit of your life to spend with us. Until next time, peace, love, keep it real.